Hello everybody, welcome to the first video on this channel. Today I'll be showing you guys how to make some simple but nice layer terrain in World Painter. So a lot of people have been requesting this already for quite a bit now and I've been putting it off, but I'm finally doing it, so yeah. But what you'll need today is World Painter, a height map, and some basic knowledge of how to use World Painter, but that's pretty much it. So let's get started. Alright, so here we are in the World or the Conquest Reforged website, not the World Painter website. And this is important because it has a guide on how to actually do Conquest Reforged layers in World Painter. It's a bit vague, but the first two steps are vital pretty much because they actually explain how to enable World Painter to use them. So go through the first two steps, enter this line of code into the VMware options, and then come back. Because, yeah, you need that. So once you've done that, what we're going to do is, I'll show the piece of terrain we're working on today. It's a pretty basic piece of terrain. We got a nice lake, we got some rocky hills, and we'll have some forest as well. A bit of marshland, but this will be covered in the next tutorial. I plan on doing another tutorial after this one, explaining how to do a bit more like advanced stuff. So for instance, how to do erosion lines, how to do like varied grass depending on the elevation, how to do marshes, all this kind of stuff. So today's video is more about just how to do basic terrain and giving you the basic tools to actually make kind of proper maps of it. But yeah, so let's get started. First off, you want to go to the layers, add a custom layer, add a ground cover layer, and once you follow the guide, this box will pop up. And this basically allows the layers to transition from one block to the other, like in a smooth way. Wow, who would have guessed? So yeah, click that, and let's call this grass, because we'll be doing a grass block layer. Let's give it like a nice green color, and let's edit it. So you want to click custom, write Conquest in this box, and then we're going to do the grass block layer. So enter grass underscore block underscore layer, and then click this Lego brick looking thing. This will give it a custom property which you want to call layers. Now it's very important that you don't type any capital letters because this will actually break it. When it exports it, it will kind of come out as if it's carpets only. So yeah, you don't want that. Always make sure that you spelled it right and also that it's all lowercase. Then click OK and type 8. Then click OK, check everything's alright. Okay, now let's do fill with layer grass only on land, because we'll be having a different ground cover layer for the water. We're gonna have an actual waterlogged layer, which I'll explain how to do now. So again, add a custom ground cover layer, smooth. Let's call this lake bed. Let's give it like a blue color, I guess. Normal blue. Yeah. Let's edit it, and we're actually going to do a complex layer this time. So let's do custom. Yeah, once you've written Conquest one time, it should show up here. Let's do gravel. So gravel underscore layer. I've been doing this for a while, so I kind of have memorized a lot of the IDs, but I completely recommend looking in-game just to make sure. But then we enter layers, and then again 8, press OK. Let's add another one, this time custom conquest, and then this time we'll do small, let's move the mouse, small stones layer. This is like a nice kind of bigger stone rubble kind of texture. And let's do layers, again 8, okay. The important part though, which I forgot, is since this is going to be underwater, if you don't add the waterlog property, then it will actually still have air often in it, and you'll get these really weird air pockets in your lake. It just doesn't look good. So in here, type waterlogged. Yeah, just waterlogged actually. And then true, like that. Then okay, and let's do the same for the other one. Waterlogged. and true. Click OK. Okay. Let's actually also edit so we have much more gravel. Let's do like 10 gravel and like, okay, why did it do that? 10 gravel and let's do like 4. Actually, let's do 3 even. So okay. Check everything's right. Got this. You should always check if this is checked, just in case. Click OK, and let's do global operations. The command for global operations is Control G. So fill with layer, lake bed only on water. And go. And now let's do the rock faces. And what we want to do is actually create a custom terrain, because on a slope this steep, you'll actually see the blocks underneath the layers. So in this case, it would just be dirt, and if you have like a nice rock layer with dirt underneath it, it will look really weird. So let's create the corresponding terrain. So create custom material. Let's do like a dark stone. So let's do Conquest, Weathered, Andesite. It's just a nice dark rock. Again, actually no, this time you don't need to do any properties because it's just a full block, so it doesn't have any. Let's get rid of this. Let's also give it a custom color, something like that. Then yeah, click OK, and let's also create a slightly darker one. So create custom material, custom, Conquest, and let's do weathered basalt. Let's go basalt. Yeah, let's give it a color as well, and get rid of that. And okay, let's do, I want this to be kind of a bit alpine, so like a lot of rock. Let's do a slightly lower angle, so there's more rock. So fill with terrain type. Let's do the lighter one first, above, let's say like 35 degrees. Yeah, that's good. And also let's do remove layer, grass, only on terrain, custom, weathered andesite. So this way I'll get rid of it. And let's also do fill with terrain type, weathered basalt, above, it's like 40, actually maybe 45 might be good. Yeah, that's good. And now let's make the corresponding layers for that. So let's do custom ground cover layer, smooth. Let's call this one weathered andesite. I like to give them the same names so it's much easier when you're doing the global operations from. Give it the same color as well. Edit. We don't need to do complex because it's only one block. Custom, Conquest, weathered andesite, slab. Now it's slab because all of the kind of harder materials have slab instead of layer. So yeah, it's something you really have to keep an eye on when you're in game, look at the IDs. So let's add the property, layers equals 8, okay. Check everything is good, alright. And let's create the other one, add a custom ground cover layer, smooth. Whoops, weathered, basalt. Color, let's give it the same color, dark, let's edit it, custom, Conquest, weathered, underscore basalt, underscore slab. Let's give it a custom property, layers equals 8, then click OK, check everything's alright, okay. Then global operations, fill with layer, weathered andesite, only on terrain, custom, weathered andesite. And let's do the same for the other one. Fill with layer, weathered basalt, only on terrain, custom, weathered basalt, go. So this way, you have your nice grass, you have your rock faces, and your lake bed. So let's export this, and I'll meet you guys back in game. Yeah. One more thing before you go. What I really recommend doing is generate structures off, peaceful as your difficulty, allow cheats on, game mode creative. If you turn generated structures on, they'll actually often spawn in the air, which will look Yeah, pretty bad. This doesn't really matter, I just like to turn it off. But for the board, I also really recommend doing void and then endless, because this way your terrain will just be like a chunk in the void. It will just look much nicer than having a wall of water around it. So check the name. Alright, let's export it. Alright, so here we are in game. I've teleported to this corner because I think it would look a bit more dynamic and kind of show off each part of the terrain a bit better. But yeah, as you can see, we got some really nice looking rock faces, a pretty nice looking lake. But the thing is, you will probably notice a few weird things happening. But don't worry, these are all really easily fixed. And for now, we'll start with this. So basically, this is caused by like the block underneath, basically this, because it isn't. The blocks don't act in the same way as layers. They kind of cause different light levels, and yeah, they kind of clash like this. Just creates these weird shadows. So what you want to do is get your world edit one, position 1. It's got like position 2 over here. You do / replace dot, then the up arrow, conquest. Let's do grass, block layer, and then the square bracket, layers equals 8, end square bracket. And this way, you can see in the place we've selected, it's removed all the shadows. So this is just a really quick way of kind of getting rid of that. And what you want to do is basically go like here, position 1, and then like here, position 2, and just do the command again, and that'll just fix all of it. You might also want to do it for the rock, but it doesn't really show up as much. But yeah, and for this is also a bit of a longer command, but it's still really simple. So what I do is I break the layer, go on top with like a block. I have a look at the coordinates, which is 37 in this case. Then I do position 1. I'll fly over, let's do like over here. Usually I do, again, in the same selection of the whole map. And then we'll break here, do position 2, / replace, conquest, gravel, layer, square bracket again, waterlogged equals true, end square bracket. So this basically, this is selecting all of the gravel layers which have water in them, and then comma, conquest, small, stones layer, square bracket, layer waterlogged equals true again, end square bracket, and then up arrow, conquest, gravel, layer, square bracket, waterlogged equals false, yeah, end square bracket. And this way you can see it fixes it. And you also, with this method, you also get a really nice looking beach. Now depending on how kind of steep of the angle, you can have a much wider beach, or like a much kind of shorter one like this, which is, I guess, pretty realistic. But yeah, that's basically how you fix all this stuff. And the next step is adding stuff like grass and trees, so let's do that. First off, we want to do, at least what I like to do, is go in here and just select a palette of like what kind of grasses you want. For the sake of the tutorial, for now, I'm just going to literally use these two. It's just a nice, simple kind of, yeah, it's a very simple palette, but it looks good enough, so we'll go with that. And I already have the trees selected in World Painter, so let's jump back into World Painter. So in here, you will see where we left off, and let's continue to add the foliage. So add custom layer, let's do the grass first. Add a custom ground cover layer. Now it's very similar, you also still do smooth, let's call it summer grass. Let's give it a bit of a lighter green color, this is good. And the only change is this, you want to do a thickness of 2 instead of 1. And this stuff I don't think really matters at all. And let's edit it. So let's do complex, because we have 2 types of grass. And if you go in game and you hover over each block, you can see underneath the name is the block ID. So in this case, it's Conquest, literally just grass. So let's do that one first. custom, conquest, grass. You still need to do the layers thing because you are placing them on them. Layers equals 8, okay. Add material, custom, conquest, common, meadow, grass, this is the other one. Layers equals 8. And now I want much more of this type of grass, it's like 30. And then, ooh, okay. And let's do with this one, it's like 10. Or let's do like 13. Okay. Now let's fill that. Fill with layer, summer grass, only on terrain, bare grass, except on water. Because the thing is, it's not acting like normal kind of grass like in Minecraft. This is acting as if it's a full block, so it actually will place in water. But the thing is, because we haven't added the waterlogged property, it will have air around it, so we just have these really weird kind of pockets of air in your lake. It would look really bad. So make sure it's only on the grass. And we also didn't do it on the rock faces because they look much better when they're clear. What you can do is add around the edges, or like just a bit of this, and that will actually look pretty good. But I would recommend only doing it with shorter grasses. But for the sake of the tutorial, I'm not going to go into that. That'll take it takes a bit of time, and I want to make this quite a short tutorial. So next is the trees. Let's do a custom object layer. Let's just call this like pines. And let's add them. So the trees I'm using in this tutorial are from Diamond's tree repository, which I'll link in the description. Currently, at the time of this release, or the release of this video, there are only 2 tree schematic packs. One from me, and also one from Diamond. Which I'll both link, but yeah. These are the only ones at the moment, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah. Let's add those 2 and spruce as well. I think that's good, yeah. So, what we want to do then is click the last one and also the top one while pressing shift to edit them all. And let's click the edit, and you want to turn off random mirroring because it will kind of ruin the trees. So don't do that. Random rotation still works though, so keep that on. Let's click OK. And now what we have to do is edit each individual one with the offset and turn it to 2 up. This will basically allow it to place on top of the grass. The only problem is that it will have often a bit of a gap underneath, but the grass mostly covers it up. I haven't actually found a proper way of doing this yet where there is no gap, because if you do only one below, then it just doesn't spawn on top of the grass because the grass occupies 2 blocks. So yeah, the thing is, if you have no grass or any foliage like that and you want to just place on bare layers, do one above only and that'll work. So yeah, do this for all of them, and also I recommend doing the leaf blocks should not decay. But yeah, I'm gonna do this for all of them and then get back to you guys. Alright, so I've gone through all of these and edited all the heights, and one thing I forgot to mention is if we reselect all of them and do edit, one thing you really want to do is turn off random mirroring, because this will actually kind of break the trees often. Random rotations still work, but I would turn off this. It breaks them, so turn that off. And now what we want to do is edit the density. So in real life, forests are actually pretty dense, especially pine forests. So I'm going to go with something like 6 blocks, which is, I think, a pretty decent density. Let's also change the color to nice dark green. And that's looking pretty good. Let's click OK. And now, the next thing we want to do, let's edit the name. Let's call it Pines Tool. Now the next thing we're going to do is do like a kind of forest periphery style. Oops. Add a custom object layer. Let's call this one Pines Short. And let's give it a bit of a brighter color. That should be good. And now let's add our stems. So let's do spruce small. Pine small, I have from mine as well. 1, 2, 3. Let's do, okay. Yeah, you want to press Control for this. So I'm using, in this case, also some of my own trees, which I will be releasing pretty soon, hopefully. So yeah, that should be good. And let's, again, edit them all with Shift, and then Edit, turn off Random Mirroring, and leaf blocks should not decay. So now I'm gonna go through these again, and meet back with you guys. Alright, so I've gone through all of these trees just now, and now what I'm gonna do is edit the density. So let's do around 4 blocks, because this is going to be basically the forest edge where you have much smaller trees, more like bushes and all that stuff. So this kind of, yeah, they're often much more dense than actual like forest itself. So 4 blocks I think is a pretty good density for that. Everything looks good so far, nice density. It's okay. And now what I like to do is go over here in the caves brush. I think this is from the Evman brush pack, which I'll try and remember to link in the description. But what I like to do to kind of simulate this realistic kind of forest placement, I guess, is intensity to 100%. And what you want to do is also only on bare grass. This is very important so that you don't get it on the rocks, which will look kind of bad. But let's do just like a little blob over here, I guess, would look pretty good. Let's maybe have it that follows this flow line. And he goes over here a little bit more. It's not looking bad. Yeah, alright, sure. And now we want to do, actually I should give it a little more here. Now you want to do is give it kind of a border to fill in with Pine's tool. So you want to right click and just leave like a decent amount, like roughly this thickness. It can be quite varied, that'll look good, but if you have it too thin, it will look a bit weird in game, so I recommend having it quite varied. Let's just do that. It's looking good. And next we want to do is accept on Pine's short. Let's go with Pine's tool. So the reason why you want to do accept on Pine's short is because if you don't do that, then they will actually overlap when you try and draw them next to each other. And from my experience, it often breaks it where they don't spawn nearly as much for some reason. So yeah, I recommend doing that, and it should be that they spawn pretty normally. It's also good to have it overlapping a little bit in some places. Or not overlapping, but where it reaches out like this, because it just looks cool in game. That's it. So let's fill this in. Now I'm gonna actually try and do most of the map already with this stuff, and I'll meet you guys back in game when that's done. Well, here we are in game, and I went through with all of it and ran all the commands like replacing the beaches and all that stuff. But yeah, as you can see, we have our trees in, and they are looking really nice. So you can see in some places where it's a bit thicker, it doesn't look as good, but it still looks absolutely fine. And you can also always, okay, well I thought I got rid of all of them. But yeah, this is really nice there. And as you can see, in some of them, because of the way I do it, they do float, yeah, like this, they do float a little bit, because if you place it only one above, I think I already explained how it just won't spawn because it's actually occupied by a grass block. So yeah, I haven't really found a way to fix that yet, but if you guys do, please tell me. It'd be nice to know. But yeah, thanks a whole lot for watching, you guys. Hope you definitely learned something new. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment as well. But yeah, I'll be seeing you. Bye.